Candy Stanton here on BBC Radio Manchester 95.1 FM. I'm Heather Stock. Good morning. How are you doing? Hope you had a great weekend. I'm sorry about this morning. It's not looking too great, is it? Another wet start to the week. Summer finished about sort of mid-July, didn't it? It's first 2 weeks of July, fine. After that, trench foot. That's all we've had. This is BBC Radio Manchester. And coming up this morning, Frederick Forsyth is going to be talking to you. He's just published his first book after a 4-year rest. He'll tell you all about it. Coming up this morning, Matt White is out at a photographic exhibition. You'll hear more about that, and you'll hear from the photographer coming up this morning. And on tonight's BBC Panorama programme, you'll hear about a pair of parents who went through what is possibly every parent's worst nightmare. They were investigated by the police and social services when they were unable to explain a serious injury to their 3-month-old son. And the programme goes on to explain how they cleared their name. The show's presenter is Dara McIntyre, and they'll be talking to you later here on BBC Radio Manchester and telling you about that story. All still to come here on BBC Radio Manchester, and we'll get the day started with a cup of coffee with Kate, Clive and Marie, all coming up in just a second, right here on 95.1 FM.
Love the thought. Love the thought. Driving down an endless road. Even if I know we can make it. Love the thought.
BBC Radio Manchester, Simply Red. I'm Heather Stock. Good morning. It's the Coffee Club. Time to get everything going and a look through the morning's papers. Kate Hardcastle is with you. She's from Insight with Passion, Marketing and Branding. Morning, Kate.
Hello, good
and
morning.
she's got a charity as well, Dream Girls. You sing, don't you?
We do. We put on events for charity. Yeah.
How many a year do you do?
Do events or charities? 3 charities a year, and
Yeah.
probably about 50 events a year.
50
So,
events?
Yeah,
So that averages out one a week, doesn't it, almost?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you must be incredibly busy.
It's really busy, and it's we're coming into our 5th year now, and it's so much bigger than I ever thought it would be. But when you get, Candy was on earlier this morning, Candy Staten
Right.
supporting us, and you
Yeah.
get these fantastic names, then, why not? But I will be hanging up my vocal mic soon. I'm going to chairwoman role on Lion, letting
Really?
some
Why?
younger spring chickens do the singing.
Oh, really?
I'm getting old. No, it's a big role, kind of the responsibility of organising it all and making it happen. So we're working for Leonard Cheshire Disability and the Retail Trust till October, and then we've got our big event at the Trafford Centre in October, where we've got the new charities coming on. So yeah, it's all go.
What does what do you, is it just you sing at these, or do you produce the whole event?
We do the whole event. Basically, there's 169,000 charities in the UK, and we're all probably aware of a couple. So the idea is it's an organisation of volunteers trying to raise awareness for some of the other charities that are less known. And we do that kind of like, the most similar thing is like Comic Relief Live. So we've got celebrities coming on and videos coming on at big events throughout the UK. And it was on my idea 4 years ago.
That's a huge thing to take on.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
know.
grown and grown and grown until you're doing a charity
Till
do
I'm
a
not
week.
sleeping. And when I thought you were going to come round to me on the holiday question, but you obviously know me too well now.
Yeah,
which
'cause
is,
you don't do them, do
I
you?
don't do them, no. No, there's no time. But thankfully we've got some great volunteers out there who help it happen too. So
Do you not think you deserve a holiday? Do you never think, actually, I'm going to burn out if I carry on like this?
Yeah, I'd love one. So someone nice out there would like to give me B&B somewhere. I'd take it off them gratefully.
So but you just don't have the time.
Just don't have the time. I went to Vintage Festival last weekend where we met up with people like Martha Reeves who've helped us before, and Wayne Hemingway and some of the supporters. So that was really nice because that was work
Wayne
and
Hemingway,
play.
who used to have Red or Dead.
Yes, that was
The
work and play all in
designer.
one. Yeah, so we kind of did some work for Charity Dream Girls there, and got to see some of the bands and had a refresh from home. But I'm fully supported by my business partner and my family with it. So I've just got to keep on going and get some more volunteers so I can have a break.
Well done you. Clive
you.
Gott is with us as well. Clive is an inspirational speaker and adventurer, and you've met Clive many times before. And Clive, inspirational speaking. Thank you. You do, we were talking about being busy. It's got to be something that sort of comes in waves, hasn't it, your work? Or
It doesn't. There are seasons. A lot of conferences, the big companies do their conferences. We'll be getting busy middle of September through to Christmas. Perhaps back into January through till March or June. But this time of year, I chose a couple of years ago to have August off and to work as little as possible in August. So that's it's a self-imposed break.
And that works well for you.
It's worked well so far, yeah.
Yeah?
It's doing okay. And after August off, then I'll need to take a holiday, so we're going on holiday in a couple of weeks. 12 sleeps to our holiday.
It's a lovely feeling, isn't it, looking forward to going on holiday?
It is, yeah.
It's, especially when the weather's as lousy as it has been for the past
Weather
6
doesn't
weeks.
bother me. It's the one thing we can't do anything about. There's no such thing as bad weather. Billy Connolly said, no such thing as bad weather, just crap clothing.
Just inappropriate clothing. And he's right in a way. But I do think it's nice if you can get out in the garden. And I think also for mums, speaking as, it's very nice if it's the summer holidays and the weather's fine and you can turf them outdoors. There's nothing worse than 6 wet weeks when you've got kids, I think. Marie Fox would know all about this because, Marie, good morning.
Good morning.
Marie has 6 children and 12 grandchildren, now retired, but busy really in many ways.
Yes. The grandchildren keep me busy and I have a busy life anyway, and I enjoy my sport. I run, I do my gym, so I enjoy, I have a busy life.
And you help with the kids every now and again.
Oh,
don't
yes,
you?
yes. But I don't look after them as per se, have them. But I do. I mean, I was down in Bishop's Stortford last week. I did the whole week down there babysitting, and we came back at weekend. Had a barbecue on Friday night and it rained all the way through.
Yes, you just have to get used to wet chops when you live in Manchester, don't you? Wet chops are the order of the day. 6 children, I talked about, wanting dry Augusts when you've got little kids.
Yes.
When you've got 6.
Yes, it is. It's a nightmare if it's raining, but, it's like everything else. Wet walks are very entertaining.
Yeah.
You go to the zoo or the park and have a nice wet walk, and they love that. But it is, and it tends to be more expensive as well. If you have a nice dry August, it's not as expensive.
Especially when you've got 6. What's the difference in age? What's the difference?
Well, there was about 8 years between 1 to 2.
Right. So 8 years in total.
Yes.
Oh, that's quite close, isn't it?
It was close, but deliberately close.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to have a big family and you spread them out too much, God, I'd be in those days I'd be 40 before I'd had my last one. Whereas today it's quite normal to be 40.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
Spread it all out. We'll talk some more in just a second. It's BBC Radio Manchester 95.1 FM. I'm Heather Stott.
BBC Radio Manchester 2020 traffic.
The M60 clockwise are laying down on the entry slip because of a broken down vehicle at 1 the Stockport Pyramid. So it's the inside lane of the 2 that's closed on the entry slip road. The M56 heavy going between 4 Withenshaw and 3 Kingsway on the eastbound stretch, and the M67 westbound slow going between 2 Kingston and 24 for Denton Island. If you're in Warrington, the Winnick Link Road, I'm afraid looking pretty slow as well between the M6 and the M62, and the A49 Winnick Road slow going southbound between Cromwell Avenue and Long Lane heading into the town centre. And if you can update me, it's 0161 244 4951. I'm Cara Banks.
Greater Manchester's moved by 2020 traffic.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Paloma Faith here on BBC Radio Manchester 95.1 FM. I'm Heather Stott with you for a cup of coffee this morning. Kate Hardcastle, Clive Gott and Mary Fox. So now then, this morning, the self-service tills that are in the supermarkets where you check your own stuff out, they were hailed when they were moved in as the end to queuing. Self-service tills began to spread through supermarkets up and down the country. Now, however, it appears that the tills might not be the best thing since sliced bread after all, as research suggests that some waiting times have actually risen since they appeared 2 years ago. Clive, you love them.
Love them.
Why?
Because they're so easy to use. The only thing that I regret about them is I'm not comfortable taking my fresh fruit and stuff that needs weighing.
Right.
To put on there. But if I've got something B&Q or somewhere like that where you've just got your stuff, just sail through, put your card in, and off you go. And do you know what the problem is with people? Why? Because they walk up to them and they go, "Oh, I hate these things. I can't use these." Decision already made. But there's thousands, there's girls at school at 14 and 15 years old using these things. The only difference is she's at that side of the till and you're at this side of the till. They're easy. It's there, written in front of you. Put your product in. Put it through.
Yes, it
Put
is.
your it's so easy. It's unbelievable.
But it is easy. Yes, it is. If all the barcodes are there and they're all straight on the packets and you can find them. And then there's the other thing where what I don't like is the bagging area where you put it down onto the actual platform in the bag and it goes the unauthorised item. No, it's not. It isn't an unauthorised item, and that me tearing my hair
I'm
out.
standing up for people, Clive. I'm sorry. I can use those tills very well. I used to use them as a Saturday job, and that is not the problem. The problem is I was there on Saturday night and I had 7 unauthorised items in my bagging area. I only had 10 items.
Wow.
Each time a lady had to come over, check my items, which she had to do several times. It was like the Annie's game. She could never quite remember what was there to start with. And then scan a card, authorise my number, and then leave again for me to put something else through and have another problem.
That did happen last week when I bought some turpentine.
Right. Was it
52,
unauthorised?
No, it asked for my age.
ID?
They had to come over at 52. I was asked for my age, which is quite cool. I wasn't going to drink it anyway, but, you know.
Yeah.
Not that time. No, but this is just a sensitivity in this kind of weighing of bagging area, and I think it's security and to make sure, you know, the shrinkage element stays reasonable. But no, it's not the way I'm using it. It's the fact that you need someone to come over, and she's normally having a chat with someone. You know, she's not manning the
So you're not keen on this
I'm
at
not
all?
keen. Get them right. Brilliant idea, but they're not right. They're
Marie?
too sensitive.
Well, you still need to have somebody there to help us, you know.
But it's only one person for sort of 4 tills, isn't it? It cuts down on staffing expenses.
In mine, we've got 6 tills and one person, and she literally spends all day going from till to till, I can assure you.
Sorting them out.
That's right. I did it on Sunday morning. I bought one paper, and I went through, and it worked. It was fantastic.
And you were thrilled to bits. Absolutely delighted.
Great. You know?
Yeah, I think it just depends, doesn't it? You know, it's like, Clive, I think you have got this can-do attitude about it, which I admire. But then you're stumped. You know, the other thing that I hate is if you're on one of the ones with the rolling conveyor belt, you have to run to the other end and pack all your stuff when you finish before the next person gets on.
It's a generation game all over again. It's really full on.
Full on. Let's talk. We're going to talk in a moment about egg donors. We've got a variety of children of different ages between us, but there is a move afoot to ask women to donate their eggs for cash, £800 in fact. Women could be paid up to £800 to donate their eggs in Britain under plans to stop fertility tourism. The government's fertility watchdog wants to lift the UK ban on selling eggs and sperm to end a shortage that forces thousands of couples to go for foreign fertility clinics every year. We'll talk about that coming up here on BBC Radio Manchester next with our coffee clubbers, Kate, Clive and Marie. In a minute, we're just going to get the news headlines. Let me remind you of our website. It's bbc.co.uk/Manchester. If we're ever between the news headlines and you want to find out what's going on, that's your first port of call, as it is for the traffic cameras. And for a full 5-day weather forecast, it's bbc.co.uk/Manchester. I'm Heather Stott.
See that stick?
Here with the very latest news headlines is Anna Dawson.
It's already got the support of Greater Manchester's Chief Constable and the Prime Minister. Now, a proposal to introduce a ban on the sale of cheap alcohol in our region has been given the backing of one of the country's top health experts. The 10 councils across Greater Manchester are considering plans to introduce a minimum price of 50 pence per unit of alcohol in pubs and off licences to cut down on binge drinking. John Middleton is the Vice President of the UK Faculty of Public Health, which advises the NHS.
It will significantly reduce the amounts of very, very harmful alcohol consumption, the kind that is really destroying our town centres and our inner cities at night.
Campaigners from the northwest say they'll try to go to the High Court today to stop the deportation of an Iraqi asylum seeker. Rambad Mohammad was detained in Oldham on Friday. Rescue teams in Chile have made contact with 33 miners who've been trapped deep underground in a copper and gold mine for the past 17 days. And in sport, Manchester United manager Sir Alex Ferguson has criticised his players for throwing away what he called silly points in yesterday's 2-2 draw at Fulham. The weather, some bright spells and showers today, highs of 17 Celsius. With news on the hour, on the half and when it breaks, this is BBC Radio Manchester.
Beswick at breakfast sounds like this.
The Jewish factory in Old Trafford is closing. Boo. but a brand new one's been opened in Wythenshawe. Hooray! And everybody's moving there, so there will be jam tomorrow. Tony Dewberg.
Well, 1894, we paid £1,315.16 and fourpence for the factory, and I've still got the bill here. I really must get it paid.
Greater Manchester wakes up to Beswick at breakfast.
It's BBC Radio Manchester 95.1 FM. I'm Heather Stott. So we were just talking about paying people to donate eggs and sperm. This is what the Fertility Watchdog have said. Women could be paid up to £800 to donate their eggs in Britain under plans to stop fertility tourism. Clive, you know, I don't know if you've ever donated, you know, in the formal sense of the word.
Never been paid for it.
Never been paid for it. Would it have made you donate when you were younger? Had you been offered 800 quid?
I don't know whether it would when I was younger, but I'm thinking now it would be a great career break, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest about it. We've got a lot of people on benefits out there who can't do work, but you know, a couple of minutes a day and you've 800 quid. That's better than any benefits you'll get, isn't it? Investment for £1 in zoo or nuts or something, and then 799 quid up within 5 minutes.
There you go. What about had you? I mean, you have a daughter, but if you hadn't, have been lucky enough to have your daughter, would you have pursued having children? Or would you have made peace with it, do you think?
I thought, well, I adopted my daughter anyway, so I have made peace with not having any natural children.
Right.
But I'm getting a bit goo-goo and gaga now over my godchildren and stuff as that. No, I've made peace with not having any biological children. But if anybody could use anything I've got spare,
800 quid
welcome to it.
Yeah, you would pay. Now, Marie, you've been lucky enough to have 6 children, 12 grandchildren. Yes. If you hadn't had, would you have pursued it, do you think?
I don't know, really.
Hard to say after 6, I suppose, isn't it?
We're talking 40 years ago now, but we had a choice of... It isn't really, in my day, we didn't have the choice. Yeah. So, no, I wouldn't have, you know... I would have been happy with it. I would have had to have been happy with it. Right. Because 40 years ago, if you didn't have a child, you didn't have a child, and that was the end of it, you know.
Yes,
1 in 100 couples didn't have a baby, and if you were one of those couples, you were unlucky.
Yeah.
Well, in my case, you would have been unlucky.
What about paying people to donate? Do you think that's the right way forward?
I don't know. You see, I think a child is not something that you can barter for or pay for. I know, I know there is this thing of people who can't have children, but just for me personally, I don't like the idea of being able to buy something like that.
Right. You see, for me, I'd have just pursued it until the nth. I would have just carried on and on and on. I wouldn't have rested. You know, if it meant going abroad, I would have gone abroad. I'd just pursued any route. Kate, what do you think about this? Paying donors 800 quid?
Well, it's very difficult, isn't it? Like you said, if you want a family and you want a child and you're not blessed with the natural opportunities to have one, or you know, things are challenging for you or your partner, then. I'm kind of with you. I think my personal stance on it would be you try everything. I've got to say there are a lot of children in this country that need a home. There are a lot of children in other countries that need a home, and that might be a route for people. You know, adoption is a fantastic route forwards. But you know, if people want a biological child and this is a route for them, then let people do what they need to do. I think it's a very difficult one to be judgmental on. I think trying to understand the pain of what wanting to be a parent and not being able to do that is a very difficult mindset to get in, just as is being a parent and going through the different things. I'm in a difficult spot because I'm a woman in my 30s, and I always call it the pregnant pause. That kind of questioning around children, and then it's just left. Right. We're not, you know, it's a very difficult one, and some people put it down to career, some people put it down to, you know, personal circumstances, but I think it's always one of those topics people find very, very difficult to talk to women of a certain age, and I guess I'm at that age now, but for my concern, if you really want to be a parent, then you fight for it just as I would anything. If I really wanted a career, I'd fight for it. If I really wanted a home above my head, a roof above my head, I'd fight for it. So
having my own biological children wouldn't have worried me. It would just be having
the opportunity to be a parent.
I just wanted to be a mummy really badly.
Yes.
You know, and so whatever route would have been open to me, had I not been lucky enough, then that's the route that I would have taken. But it's interesting, isn't it, how you know, money can come into it, and whether or not £800 will make more people want to donate their eggs, we'll have to wait and see if it does happen. It's BBC Radio Manchester 95.1 FM. I'm Heather Stott.
BBC Radio Manchester 2020 traffic.
Problems now. The M61 northbound are laying down because of a broken down vehicle between 5 West Horton and 6 Horwich. The inside lane closed for a tyre change on that vehicle. The M66 northbound are laying down on the exit slip at Junction 3 Hollins. There's a broken down lorry on the outside lane of the 2 on the exit slip road, causing delays locally. And if you're on the M60, it's still looking slightly built up. Junction 18, that's Sinister Island, through towards Junction 13 at Worsley. So give yourself plenty of extra time if that's your route this morning. Now don't forget, any further updates you have for me, then do get in touch. It's 0161 244 4951. I'm Cara Banks.
Manchester's dependable traffic every 20 minutes.
2020 traffic.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Here we go. It's BBC Radio Manchester 95.1 FM. I'm Heather Stott. 9 in 10 garages fail to repair car faults. Garages may still be putting lives at risk by failing to repair basic faults with cars, a consumer watchdog warned today. Despite the introduction of several codes of conduct designed to improve servicing standards, 87% of the garages investigated by which missed or ignored at least one potentially dangerous fault. The watchdog asked 62 of its members to book their cars in for a service. Before they did, they introduced 4 basic faults: a component that a mechanic should be able to spot, a deflated spare tyre, a near-side rear tyre and brake fluid at the minimum level. And apparently 9 in 10 garages failed to repair at least some of those faults. Kate, how confident are you when you take your car in? Do you feel confident?
Yeah, I'm okay. I know what you're saying, and I remember buying my first car 20 years ago and kind of getting, just under 20 years ago, actually, I made it myself, but getting that kind of, the car dealer would only deal with my boyfriend at the time, you know, and what colour would she like, kind of thing. I can't speak, I do have a brain. But on the flip side of this story, it scares me. I'm 2 weeks out of a major accident where my car was written off on the M6, and it absolutely frightened the life out of me, because was it not for my airbags, I wouldn't be sat here today. The airbags do quite a lot of damage though, a lot of burns and bruises from the airbags, but to hear that cars could be going in and not having all the vital elements there when we're reliant on these safety elements being fitted in our car frightens me to death. And I mean, that's not specific to a gender, is it? That's just cars in general. And I don't know, I think we just take it for granted a lot, that all of these things are going to be all right, and we get in the car in a bit of a rush and we don't really think about the kind of motor vehicle that's taken us to
maybe
places.
It's our fault, you know, because maybe maybe we need to be a little bit more savvy,
vigilant,
and maybe we need to know a little bit more about it and a little less trusting. Clive, I mean, I imagine...
Back to them scanning machines again, isn't it?
It is back to those scanning machines. I imagine that you would have no trouble at all, that people take you fairly seriously and they assume that you know what you're talking about.
No, the assumption is all mine. I haven't got a clue about cars.
Right.
If I want my car mending, I take it to a man who mends cars.
Right.
I think the garages are on a hiding to nothing here. They can't win, because if you go into a garage and the first thing they say is you're going to need new brake pipes, somebody will say, well, they're trying to rip you off.
Yeah.
So when are the watchdogs actually going to send 67 of their people in with perfectly serviceable cars and find 67 garages who did a brilliant job? That's what I'd like to see, because there's always going to... It doesn't matter, it's not your cars, it's your television, it's whatever you need repairing. There's always going to be...
Indeed, if you need repairing yourself.
Indeed, if you need repairing yourself, and you go under the anaesthetic, how do you know they put you a new knee in? They might have put one in they took out of somebody else yesterday. The fact is, at some point we have to trust each other, and this sort of stuff, you'll see one on television tonight, Homes from Hell and everything else. I just want to see some newspaper reports or some television programmes about brilliant builders, brilliant mechanics, and because for every one scurrilous one, I bet there must be a dozen who have actually got values and they've got some sort of honesty and they do a brilliant job. And I'm not going to mention them, but I take mine in, I'll leave it there, and they'll ring me up and say, tyre's a bit dodgy, mate, we'll let it go today, but we're not going to pass an MOT in October with it. And I like that, and I trust them implicitly.
Right. So you trust your garage?
Yeah, because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Do you not think we need more checks, though? I mean, there's something called a good garage guide, and I don't think it's very publicised, but don't you think when it's something as important as that, if you go for an operation, I've been for an operation, and I've got something on my one wrist, something on one wrist, I've got to check something, I've got to check it's my signature, 5 people have got to say it's definitely me having the operation, whereas on my car. I kind of drop it in, take it. I don't really know. They're good. They've been here a while. Don't you think we need some more checks in place so we can say, right, this is a brilliant garage. I've heard like a witch report. They're, a great garage, and I know I'm going to get the service from it.
You've got that. You can go for a witch report. You can find a great garage.
Yeah, I agree with
you. It's just that some people are prepared to take what they take. I mean, I'm really, really fortunate. My garage is 100, 200 metres away from my house. Take it down, leave it, walk home. They ring me up, tell me it's right. But some people they'll just dump it anywhere because they're going for price.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is where I put both hands up.
MOT while you wait.
Yeah.
Who wants an MOT? What they're really saying is, bring it in here, we'll do it as quick as we possibly can, and you give us 30 quid. Now, if anybody goes for one of those, it's their own damn fault.
Okay, well, that'd be me then. Marie, what about you?
I tend to use the same garage and trust who you take it to.
You do trust them?
Well, yes. I mean, the thing is, I feel you have to trust them because you don't know, and you've never been let down. So if you've never been let down, you go back to the same bloke all the time. And if he doesn't let you down, you don't have much problems.
You see, I always feel like they think I'm an idiot when I walk in. That obviously is because I am an idiot. But I always give off the idiot vibe, and therefore I am treated like an idiot. I think it starts with me. I expect to be treated like an idiot, so they do. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I'll change your garage.
No, do you know, I think it's more me that needs changing.
Well, most of us are idiots. That's why we go to garages. I don't know one side of a car from another. If it starts on a morning, it'll work for me. If it doesn't start on a morning, go to the garage. If they treat me like an idiot, I'm going to go to another garage.
Well, you see, this is you can say that, but every garage I've ever been to treat me like an idiot, so I think it's me. It's BBC Radio Manchester 95.1 FM.
Manchester Sports
on BBC Radio Manchester.
After trips to London and Romania, Manchester City's first home game of the season sees Liverpool make the trip across the M62.
Scores on his debut.
BBC Radio Manchester has all the build-up and full match commentary.
tonight from 7.
BBC Radio Manchester.
It's BBC Radio Manchester. Roy Orbison. I'm Heather Stock. Good morning. With you this morning for a cup of coffee. Kate, Clive and Marie. And we'll be talking to them in a moment again about some of the stories in the papers. But first of all, there's a terrific new exhibition opening today with some stunning photographs of Manchester women. It's all part of the work of photographer Rachel Adams, and it's aimed to celebrate the contribution that women have made to the city's gay community. You'll be meeting Rachel after the news. But first, Matt White is on his way down to the exhibition and he can tell us more about it. Matt, good morning.
I'm just down now on just off Princess Street in Manchester. It's the 20th anniversary this year of Manchester Pride, and I think it's fair to say that Manchester Pride has played a massive part in breaking down the ignorance in the Northwest. Well, not just in the Northwest, but all over the UK, and because of that, Manchester is now known as the gay capital in the UK. Now, this exhibition is tying in with that, and as you said, it's about trying to recognise the role that the women have played in this as well. The photographer Rachel Adams has taken photos and written biographies of various different women who have played their part in changing the cultural and social history of gay Manchester. You'll be talking to the photographer a bit later, and I'm going to be talking to one of the people, one of the subjects that posed for the photos.
How fabulous to be part of an exhibition.
Yeah, well, I think
it must be quite special, mustn't it, to see people, to think people, not just if you're the photographer, but if you're actually the subject. That must be lovely, mustn't it?
I also think it might be a bit daunting. Having to go through that photo shoot, but then being up there on the wall for the whole of Manchester to see.
Yeah, well, we'll find out what it's like, Matt, when we talk to you later. And, of course, we'll meet Rachel Adams coming up this morning. Thank you so much to our coffee clubbers this morning. It's been an absolute pleasure. Kate, thank you very much.
No worries,
Clive,
thanks.
thank you. Marie, lovely to see you all. It's BBC Radio Manchester 95.1 FM. I'm Heather Stott.